a new job, but you're also scared that you're going to make the wrong decision and end up in a job that you hate because you didn't see the warning signs there flashing telling you, hey, this is not a good job. So you are going to read between the lines, starting with figuring out what those reading between the lines are in this video. Let's talk about the red flags you need to be aware of. So no job is perfect, and if you have ever accidentally ended up in a job that was toxic and you go, oh my gosh, there were red flags there, how did I not see them? It's okay. A lot of us have been there. I have been there. You are going to hear some of the red flags that I myself have looked past and gotten into the job and then been like, whoa, this was a big mistake. So no judgment, but let's all learn so that we don't make these mistakes again. So I am going to go through 7 red flags, starting with my personal favorite. We're a work hard, play hard culture. Any job where they're talking about we're work hard, play hard, we're like a family more than a team, these are do not pass go signs, in my opinion. When a company says we're work hard, play hard, that to me has always meant we expect you to work long hours here and to also be on our kickball team on Saturdays. Like, they want work to be your life. Some people might be okay with that. I am not okay with that. I think it shows that there's probably not a lot of good work-life balance. I understand work-life balance is not actually balanced, but any work-life equilibrium, if you will. So really, I just kind of try to stay away from those sorts of places. Or if they say they're work hard, play hard, ask them what they mean by that. What does that look like? Okay, the next one to look out for, and this one can come in 2 ways, and that is bad-mouthing others in the company. Now, the red flag that I accidentally looked past was bad-mouthing the person I was replacing. Like, in the interview, the guy was talking about how his current assistant was not great and did not do a good job, and oh, what an idiot he was. And there's a weird psychological thing that happens where you're like, yeah, I won't be that guy. Whew, let me come in. Let me show you how much better I can do. But why do we think that if they're bad-mouthing the guy right now, they're not gonna bad-mouth you? They're gonna bad-mouth you. It also to me just proves that person's probably a difficult boss and in a toxic way. And so it's just not even worth it. So I would move right along. Now, I said there's 2 ways this can come out. The other one is bad-mouthing each other. If you're in a panel interview setting or having multiple interviews in one day, how are they treating each other? Are they kind of mean to one person? Do they talk about somebody in one meeting that was in the, in one interview that was in the interview before? Really look at that sort of thing. And again, think, is this the kind of culture I want to be in where this is how they talk about each other? The next one is a pretty obvious red flag. They're not all going to be this obvious, and you're going to want to stay for the last one, but the next one is inappropriate questioning or inappropriate, why can't I say inappropriate today? Inappropriate line of questioning. So if they're asking any of those questions that are illegal, like marital status, if you have kids, things like that, age, these things should not be asked. Again, I always like to make a caveat of sometimes this just comes out of ignorance. If it's a small business, and I'm talking a real small business, sometimes they don't recognize these things. They should know, but you need to be thinking about it, and it is a red flag. Like, they should not be asking you inappropriate questions. Okay, the next one. The questions they're asking don't line up with the job description. This is one that happens more often than we think because they put the job description out and now they've realized the job has changed and they present something different to you in the meeting. It doesn't necessarily mean the job is bad, but do you want to do this new job that's being presented to you? This isn't what you signed up for. There are times and there are industries and institutions where there really isn't a guarantee that the job that you signed up to do is the one you're going to end up doing. I was in a position where I was on an interview committee in higher ed where we were searching for someone that would have like kind of 3 main pillars to their job. And one of those pillars we interviewed on extensively. And by the time they got in the role, a position had switched and they had to take on the responsibilities of the role above it. And that thing we interviewed for, we passed off to me. And so what we interviewed them for, they didn't even end up doing. Now, they still ended up doing the essence of the overall job, but just one of the main components that I think for some people was the exciting part of getting that position, they ended up having to delegate first thing in the role, literally a week into the role. So you can't always know. But if the job description is one thing and the interview is different, at least you're finding out now that is a red flag. This might be a do not pass go moment. We might want to turn this one down. Okay, the next one that I would be careful about, vagueness in answering your questions. The candidates can sometimes be very vague in their answers. That's a problem, but same works in reverse. If you're asking questions at the end and the employer is very vague in their answers, can't tell you, let's say, who you'd report to or what a typical week looks like or what the culture is really like or what makes someone successful, they can't really share those things with you. Those are not good signs. That means either they don't know what they're looking for or they don't know this role. They don't know how their team works. It's just not great if they have vague answers. Okay, we got 2 more to go, so stick with me. This next red flag, if nobody there has been there for long. So if you're interviewing with a bunch of people who have all just started in the last, 2 weeks, 6 months, etc., that can be a red flag. Now, granted, if this is a new team that's starting up and it's a startup company and they're ramping up this team quickly, that's not as crazy, but hopefully you are interviewing with somebody who has been there longer than that. Ask people, how long have you worked here? What do you enjoy about the job? And if everybody seems to be brand new, or if you go look at their LinkedIn profiles and they're all brand new, why is everybody brand new? You need to get down to the bottom of it. What happened that all these new people are starting at the same time? Who's difficult? That's what it tells me. Who's difficult that people keep leaving? It's kind of like the second version of when you keep seeing the same job getting posted every couple of months, you really probably don't want to go for that job anymore. You should let that job posting just go by. So if you get to the point of the interview and you find out everybody's brand new, question why, and then read between the lines of those answers. Was it a valid reason why? Is somebody difficult? Is the job difficult? Can nobody live up to the standard? And these people are all going to be gone in 2 months too. Okay, now this next red flag, the final red flag, this is the most important one, and I want you to stick with me. It is your personal red flag. You need to go into the job, or you need to go into the interview knowing what are your personal red flags. If it's below a certain salary range, that's a red flag, right? That's a do not pass go. Do you hate the idea of overtime? Like, are you here because you want better work-life balance and you get in there and they say, well, sometimes we are on call or we do have to work some nights and weekends, and you're like, well, what is that? You need to decide what's right for you. Some people have non-negotiables that other people are totally fine with, but you need to figure out what are your red flags and then stick to that. When we're watching videos like this, some of this stuff can seem so obvious and like, yeah, Cassandra, I would never get sucked into doing what you're talking about. Like, I would see that that's a red flag. I would never do that anyway. But we want a job and we want a better paycheck and things like that, that we end up trying to go, no, it's fine. And we try and talk ourselves into it. So really think through before a job, what are your red flags? Even my very first example of work hard, play hard, and them wanting you to be at work all day and then be on the kickball league and go to happy hours 3 nights a week. To me, I don't want that. But if you just move to a town and you're lonely and you want to make friends and get a social life immediately, maybe that is not a red flag to you. So it depends, but be figuring out what are your own personal red flags, and let me know in the comments what yours are. Now that you've watched this video, go ahead and watch this next one right here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.